episode of Coffee Break with Melissa. I'm your host, Melissa, and I'm joined by the lovely Miss Katie Buckless, who works in our Intact department here at LSSI. Katie, the floor is yours.
Well, thank you for having me, Melissa. As you said, I'm in the Intact program, and I think the best way to explain Intact is that when DCFS receives a call, the investigator will go out, they'll meet the family, they'll investigate the report, and at the end, or at any point, they might say to themselves, this family needs no help at all, or they might say these children are in danger, they need to be removed from the home, and then in that case, it would become a placement case. Or they can say, the children are currently safe, but some things need to happen to keep them that way. And that's when they initiate an Intact case.
Oh, okay.
And so I'll meet the investigator, I'll go out to the home, the parent agrees, signs the paperwork, and then going forward, I'd be their worker, we do weekly home visits, and then I assess what the needs are in the family.
Oh, awesome. No, that's a great service. I bet you've seen so many things and have been able to help a lot of families, like keep their family together, intact as the program is for, and be able to move on with their lives a lot quicker. So
yeah, it is a really, really good program. Nothing's perfect, but and you could have a case open for one thing. For an example, it opens because the kids aren't going to school, and then as you work with them, you find out mom's an alcoholic, dad's abusive. So it might initiate for one reason, and you find out more things.
Yeah, and the family is stronger in the end because whatever was the reason for it to come to our attention, that's what we're there for, is to support for other areas that could use some help and services. So
Melissa, you bring up a great point, because a lot of times it's a wake-up call, even the DCFS call coming out, because parents may be engaged in things and they don't consider it a risk. It's either very normal to them, or sometimes it really isn't a problem. Like, for example, I had a dad that would say to his kid, I'm going to smack you upside your head. He never actually smacked him upside his head, but somebody heard that. And then he ended up, with an Intact case, and then I worked with him. He took a parenting class, and he learned better ways to discipline, and really didn't need to resort to any of that. But did he need to have a case? No, not really. He just needed to not,
someone
kind of threaten in that way.
Yeah. Wow. Well, thank you for being with us today, like I said. And you just took a sip of something. What are you drinking?
This is blueberry tea, because I'm one of the only people on the planet that hate coffee. I don't understand.
Show's over, guys. We're done here. We're going to end this soon.
I don't understand the world's obsession.
So you're a tea girly.
Well, everyone says it's an acquired taste. I'm like, why would you want to drink something so awful that you have to acquire the taste? But it's just me.
Yeah, I'm drinking tea today as well. Is it blueberry as well? What am I having? Oh, sorry. This is a surprise. Well, I'll just taste it. How about that?
There you go.
I'm kind of enjoying doing these tastings for the first time on air. It's kind of fun. Let me see what my beautiful coworker Rachel made for me today. Let's see. Blueberry as well? I couldn't tell. I'm sorry. I don't know, but it's not bad. It's hot and not bad, so we'll roll with that. But I will share something cool. I'll read what my little thing says here. The message from this tea that undiscernible to my taste buds. I'm sorry. I bet it's really good, but I just can't tell right now. The only constant is change.
Isn't that the truth?
Yes. Yeah, for sure.
That is true.
So true. Is tea your favorite warm beverage? Or, is there a particular kind?
I really don't like Earl Grey or the technical tea. I like the herbal teas.
Oh, nice. They get expensive too. They get fancy sometimes. I don't know.
Yeah.
Just depends.
But I like even drinking them cold. Like you put them in the fridge, like make fridge tea.
Oh.
And then it replaces water. Because it has no caffeine, no this. And especially if you make it weak, you can just drink it like flavored waters.
Oh, that's nice. I grew up drinking Lipton iced tea. That was my tea, my childhood tea drink. That and orange tang.
Okay.
Isn't that yummy? There's some good memories right there. And Kool-Aid, purple or red only.
The Kool-Aid, yeah.
Yes. Okay. What's your favorite thing about LSSI, Katie?
That is easy to answer.
Okay.
Easy to answer. LSSI is the only company I've ever worked for that actually puts into place all the things they say about work-life balance. Okay, I've been here 6 years. I've never once been turned down for PTO.
Nice.
Not once. And in order to facilitate that, my coworkers have to do my visits when I'm on vacation. Never had a problem with anyone being willing to do that. They give you 26 days off a year of PTO. From day one.
Isn't that
Okay,
good?
you don't have to be here 15 years to earn that. And that means a lot to me because I had a prior job. It was a great company, but my son needed an IEP meeting. They only did it on Wednesdays. In order for me to get off a Wednesday, somebody else would have to come in their day off. Nobody would do that. And it took me months to try and get a Wednesday afternoon off. And the whole time I was enraged.
Oh, man.
Like, this is ridiculous. And that's part of why I left, actually.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, it's really nice to have that flexibility here. It's true. So you have like an interesting work history of like fields. Can you tell us? You don't have to go into all that, but what brought you to working in child welfare, or
This is my third career. So I started out in banking, doing first was customer service, then actually production of loans and management. And then after a while, I sort of accidentally got into aviation. Basically, I needed a job. I started answering phones. And aviation's an industry where they don't care about your, unless you're a pilot, of course, but they don't care about your school history. Okay. You can move up if you're a hard worker. So I sort of moved up.
Nice.
And then when the airline closed, I couldn't get a job for nothing. I don't know.
Seriously?
I applied to everything. I ended up working at Best Buy because it was 2013.
Do they give good discounts?
Yeah.
Okay. See.
Actually, Best Buy is a pretty good company to work for. Separate subject.
Topic for another day, but
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. But so I ended up trying to figure out what do I want to do with my life, and I went back to school, and then ended up here.
Okay, nice. Wow.
And that was a big deal for me. I had dropped out of high school, got my GED. I started college when I normally would have, and then I just wasn't ready. Ended up dropping out. Started my careers that really I didn't need college for.
Okay.
And then always wanted to do it. And my son inspired me.
Did he?
He inspired me, but in reverse. So he wasn't doing what he was supposed to do in school.
Oh.
And we were going back and forth. And
What grade was he in?
I don't remember.
Elementary school time?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, elementary school. But probably middle school age.
Okay.
And we were just getting back and forth, and he said something and I said something. It started to get a little heated, and he said, you're a hypocrite. You didn't even finish school, and you're acting like school is such a big deal.
Oh, these kids.
I was enrolled in college the next day.
Get it. That's what I'm talking about. Shut him down.
When we were doing our homework together.
Aw.
And I tell him that story. He doesn't even remember saying it, but he did.
Wow. That's inspiring. Good for you.
Yeah. I was like, he's right.
Uh-huh.
And I'm really happy because it was such a big deal for me that both of my kids graduated high school, and my son just graduated Rock Valley, and my daughter, she's going to be graduating next semester. So I was like, okay, high school dropout, both kids graduated college.
Amen. Congratulations.
And it wasn't, it's not from a place of judgment of others.
Mm-hmm.
It was myself and the comments people had made over the years. It was definitely reinforced to me. Like if you dropped out, your kids were likely to drop out, whether it's true or not. So in my head, I just felt like it was such a big deal for them to graduate.
No, that's great. And what an example. Like you went a different path, but life circumstances lined up, and your kids held you accountable in a way, like called you out, and you were able to step up like no other, right?
Definitely. I'll never forget that. Like when he said it, I was, whew, okay.
Uh-huh.
I thought about it, and it was actually a friend of mine. She came over, Brittany. She came over, and I was crying. I was upset. I was like, I just can't afford it. And she's like, really? Look at that. There's financial aid. Oh, what about this? What about that? And then we ended up, this is crazy, but the truth. We ended up staying up all night talking. And I went to Rock Valley College, like when they opened at 8 in the morning, took my entrance. Like I was literally a student within 24 hours of him making that comment.
Wow. What a good story. Oh, that's so nice. Is Brittany looking for a job? Or,
No,
she
she's
seems like a good friend, and like she'd make a really good caseworker.
She would actually. And I've sort of used that with my clients too. I'll be at their house, and when they have an excuse, I've taken out my phone. Boop, boop, boop. Oh, yes, you can. Oh, I can't do that. Yeah, you can. There's a lot of resources that people don't realize are there. And even myself, earlier, I always wanted to go to college. I didn't think I could afford it. There was financial aid all along. I just didn't realize it. Didn't know how readily available it was. I mean, of course, I've heard of it, but.
Well, that's so good. I could keep asking you all day about this, because kind of like a school junkie. I love school. I'm kind of at my run-ins where I'm starting programs, doing stuff, life circumstances, different things. But I am like a major advocate for people educating themselves and like getting better and overcoming like their obstacles and stuff.
To go to school in your late 30s, that's when I think mid to late 30s. To go to school then, it was a really eye-opening experience, because literally what I learned is how little I know. There was a lot of things that were taught to me in grammar school and high school that were just blatantly not true. But I walked around with that, Christopher Columbus, you know what I mean, is the big hero type thing. And that's just one example, but.
Yeah, and to those listening, education, this is my personal opinion, education doesn't have to look like enrollment in an institution, per se.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Like there's so many, like you said, resources like that are like alternative programs, or like learning and making use of where you're at to like develop yourself, like growing within your company.
Yeah.
As I find myself doing as we speak, and creating like just learning, like YouTube, self-teaching yourself, the Rockford Public Library or whatever local library. There's so many ways to like learn something if you really want to, or like find your own Brittany, or you know, your own person that could kind of like help open your eyes, or like support you, give you ideas and stuff.
Oh, absolutely. One of the things that always held me back was probably a self-esteem issue. And we talked about financial aid earlier. So I knew that if I took out financial aid, okay, and then failed classes, I would have to pay it back, okay? So in my head, I didn't even want to try because I'm going to fail and I have to pay it back, and I'll be in a worse situation. But when I went back, I got straight A's, okay? I just didn't think I could. So for whatever, 15, 20 years, whatever long it was, I held my own self back.
Yeah.
And I noticed that a lot sometimes with clients. They're interested in getting their GED.
Yes.
They put it off year after year.
Yeah.
But if they were to start, I know they could do it. I know they could do it.
Or starting a litlittle business, or, you know, getting whatever little certificate or something or other that would just get them over the edge to, like, because we have our families, the thing about when you're struggling is like you get really resourceful, and have you seen like within our families that they're really, really resourceful at like taking care of their needs, and like using the village approach to like, hey, you know, let's pool resources together and think outside the box.
Oh, absolutely.
So,
very resourceful.
So that's good. Thank you for, you know, taking the conversation there with me. I appreciate it. So what are your passions or hobbies, Katie, that you've done or want to do, or I'm guilty of sin, because every time we do these programs, they'll always go, well, don't talk about TV. Okay.
TV is my jam.
Gotcha.
As far as hobbies,
no judgment.
My son always tells me, you need to get a hobby, because I really don't have a bunch of hobbies. I know that I love spending time with my friends. I love, you know, being social, going to movies and that kind of thing, but I haven't developed many hobbies, I mean.
Okay. Well, is shopping a hobby for you? Because I noticed you wear like the most really pretty dresses, including the one you have on today, and I'm just like, she has such really nice style. And
thank you. I'm a thrift store queen.
There you go. No, I love that.
I'm a thrift store queen. I love variety, and if I spend, you know, I have clothes, of course, that I've spent a lot of money on, but for the most part, if I get it, $3, okay, because I like to switch things up.
No, that's great. Yeah, you have a good eye. So what's one win to celebrate, Katie, as we wrap up? Big or small?
Well, it kind of ties to what we talked about, LSSI being a supportive organization.
My supervisor nominated me for the board, 2025 Champion for Children Award.
It was really nice. It was really nice. I felt very special. My mom came, my husband came. There was a small ceremony that they do every year, part of the Hands Across the Courthouse. It felt nice.
Awesome. And you got a nice plaque too, didn't they?
And it's pointy. It is so pointy.
Yeah,
it is very pointy.
It was really pretty.
It's beautiful.
Okay. Well, that wraps up our show for today. Anything else you're celebrating? I think you were telling me
my
something
son's
else.
getting married, and he's graduating college on the 16th, and then he's getting married on the 17th.
Oh, well,
I'm really excited about that.
So happy for you. Congrats to the family, to you and to them. So, well, thank you for being here. This was so much fun. And my little blooper about my tea was not going to happen again, you guys. I don't know. But I enjoyed this talk, so I think it was worth it.
You work in child welfare, not like food testing.
Yeah, seriously. Give myself some grace around here, you guys. Well, till the next time. See you later. Bye.
Thank you.